let's transition from the Commanders to the Eagles in the NFC East, friend. And big win today for the Eagles against the Bengals. I know it kind of started slow, but at the end of the day, they finished strong, 37-17. Big second half to close this one out against Cincinnati. Kind of recap this and tell us what it means for the Eagles, who are now 5-2.
Yeah, as you mentioned, they go 5-2. First win ever in the city of Cincinnati. So we all got to witness history today as they were able to come away with a big win. Look, Jalen Hurts, first quarterback in NFL history with 3 games with at least 3 rushing touchdowns. 2 of them via the brotherly shove, the tush push, but one of them on a basic zone read. But also did it while completing 80% of his passes, 236 yards. His longest touchdown pass of his career, a 45-yard pass to Devontae Smith that traveled 59 yards in the air. And I think when you look at this offense, it's been really kind of predicated on the explosive play, both on the ground and through the air. Saquon Barkley, it was a very workmanlike day for him. He didn't have a run of double digits until really the final drive that kind of sealed it. And he had a 16-yarder and a 19-yarder, but it just felt like they were just constantly pounding away at the Cincinnati offense or the Cincinnati defense, where it was 5 yards, 6 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards. And then you just had that efficient play from Jalen Hurts 3 weeks in a row now where he has not turned the football over. So really efficient play from him in this one. And I thought that he really rebounded well. I honestly thought that last week, the win over the New York Giants was Jalen Hurts' worst game, certainly of this season, but really that I've seen from him in the last couple of years. Just not seeing the field all that clearly. It was a small sample size of throws, but I thought he bounced back nice. I'm excited to go through the film and see what he looked like in a lot of those pure drop back situations. But to not have like the explosive runs in this game and still find ways to be able to move the football. I mean, they scored touchdowns on 5 of 6 drives, had a field goal wedged in between there. So the offense certainly held up their end of the bargain. But the big difference, guys, this one, defensively, they were finally able to get turnovers. I mean, they just had not been forcing takeaways on that side of the football, and they finally were able to do that. First game this year where they were able to get multiple takeaways. C.J. Gardner-Johnson getting an interception after an Isaiah Rodgers tip ball downfield against Jamar Chase. And then you also had a punch out from Zach Bond, the linebacker, that Nakobe Dean was able to jump on. The Eagles were able to convert both of those turnovers into points, and that's how you get away with a runaway victory here in Cincinnati. So this was a big litmus test game. I mean, this defense has really played well over the last couple of weeks. I mentioned the volatility we've seen offensively, but I think overall, you got to feel good if you're an Eagles fan coming out of this one. 3 games in a row now that this Eagles team has won, 2 in decisive fashion. It's a good way. I mean, look, you got Jacksonville coming to town next week. It's a team with a losing record. Dallas, another team with a losing record the week after. A division rival, certainly, but a team that if you're able to win these 2 games, now you've won 5 straight. And you're going in the middle of the season 7-2. That'll make you feel good. And so I'm interested to see how this team continues to respond.
Yeah, I mean, I think these last couple weeks, seeing this offense kind of at full capacity with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown back in the mix, and obviously Saquon Barkley mixed in with them, one thing I love about Eagles fans, and I don't even know if you know this, Fran, but I'm engaged to one of them.
Oh, nice.
Every game, almost every drive, every play is like shifts a narrative one way or the other. And they had a struggle there when they didn't have those 2 guys. And it was like, is Jalen washed and this, that, and the other. And, finally you get all of the ingredients of this offense that they built back together. And these last couple of weeks, it's looked like a well-oiled machine.
It's honestly it's kind of exhausting because I tried to put out last week again, like Jalen did not have a good game last week. He didn't play well, and when you say that, the Eagles fans, it's one side or the other when it comes to Jalen Hurts. And Adam, I know that you can empathize with this because I'm sure it was this way with Justin Fields. I'm sure it's this way right now with Caleb Williams. I feel like when you have a passionate fan base, like I really think of Eagles fans and Bears fans as similar in this way. And I know TJ Edwards just spoke about this recently, actually. It just in terms of like the passion and really, I mean, it comes forward so often with that quarterback discussion, where it's like, look, he's not playing well right now. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I'm not saying he can't make bad reads. In this game, he did not make the easy throws. He did not make the simple reads. and he came back in this game. And people saying, oh, how about those simple reads this week, Fran? I'm like, yeah, last week didn't play well. This week played well. It's really kind of an easy thing to grasp. But as you said, it's every throw you kind of have to like live and die with that being all right. Like this is what Jalen Hurts is now, and obviously we know that in reality that is not how it works. But no, like I said, I mean, they're hoping that they can kind of generate some momentum here. This is a big win, an important win for this team going on the road, because you get wins over the Giants. Daniel Jones, that offense was kind of middling for most of the year, but they're missing their starting left tackle. Even though you had all this defensive success, how real was it? The week before it was against Cleveland, Deshaun Watson. That pass game had been dreadful. So how real was that defensive performance to go and do what you did against Cincinnati? You held Joe Burrow to his lowest quarterback rating of the season in this game. So I think just continuing to try and build those strong performances defensively, you pop the seal in terms of the takeaways. Again, just trying to build that forward momentum here for this group on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it's interesting how this is shaping up now with the Commanders managing to steal the win on the Hail Mary, and the Eagles at 5-2. Cowboys lose again, so this seems like it's kind of a 2-horse race in the NFC East. I got to give the nod to Philly. I mean, I just, especially, seeing the Commanders today, the Commanders have definitely surprised me, and I don't think they're going anywhere. But one of the reasons why I think this loss might haunt the Bears later is because it might end up, possibly deciding a wild card situation too. But Fran, I would probably have to give this nod right now, calling it in late October, to the Eagles. Still, I just think top to bottom, the roster is more talented. Is that how you're looking at it right now?
Yeah, I think that to me, it's the line of scrimmage. If the Eagles can continue to assert themselves on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football, I do think that that's going to be something that will carry them through, especially against Washington, because that's where they're kind of struggling right now. I mean, they lost Jonathan Allen last week, so they didn't have him obviously for this game. It looked like Jer'Zhan Newton was all over the place. Johnny Newton was all over. What do you have? 8 pressures of Caleb Williams in this game. But I think when you look overall, at the trench depth on both sides, you got to give the edge to the Eagles, and I think that's by design. That's the way that Howie Roseman and the Eagles consistently want to build this thing. And so I would agree. I think when you look at the way they build the line of scrimmage, and then you look at the blue chip talent on offense, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you get Dallas Goedert back healthy, you put them all with Jalen Hurts, and you have to feel good about their chances here in the East, especially if Dallas continues to go down the opposite way.
We all silly like the mayor.